In the sword trial hall, Jiang Fengmian publicly unfolded Wen Rohan's handwritten letter. It contained only a few careless words, almost saying nothing. In short, there was such a person in the Wen family with good qualifications who could be introduced to your child. As for where her relatives were, who her parents or siblings were, her age or birth date, there was nothing mentioned at all. It was so hasty and brief that it was simply impossible to work from. When asked about these questions, Wen Jin only gave a few brief answers and seemed unwilling to go deeper. After saying a few words, she slowly stretched her stiff legs, sitting in a posture far too bold for a young lady. She smiled apologetically, but did not withdraw her legs. I recently snuck out of Nightless City to play, happened to come to Yunmeng territory, and heard everywhere that young Master Wei of Yunmeng was looking for a bride, said to be handsome and charming, an uncommon figure. So I applied to the sect leader and volunteered to meet him. Wen Jin's words were casual, but several people listening in the hall couldn't help but become alert. After the conversation, Jiang Fengmian sent someone to inquire about this person's background. The disciple who returned reported had a serious expression. Rumor had it that, although this girl's surname was Wen, her lineage was just an obscure, minor branch of the huge Wen family, an unknown and marginal group with an uncertain origin. Wen Jin's background was pitiable, abandoned by her clan not long after birth for unknown reasons. But as a tiny child, she was beautiful and charming, and many families were willing to take her in. Rumor said she drifted from family to family, and those kind families that took her in all suffered successive misfortunes. Some dispersed, some perished. The girl carried an ominous reputation until she met Wen Ruohan, who treated her as a half-adopted daughter and gave her a stable place. Though her orthodox cultivation was nothing special, she knew many unconventional and dark techniques. She worked beside Wen Ruohan to secretly eliminate dissenters. Wen Jin looked young, only 2 or 3 years older than Wei Wuxian, but the things she did in secret made people shiver deep down. It was said that the fire that killed the Xia family a few months ago was related to her. It was weird for cultivators to die in a house fire. Many rumors spread that perhaps the Xia family had offended the Qishan Wen clan and thus met disaster. After hearing the disciples' report, Jiang Fengmian was silent in contemplation. Everyone was uneasy, guessing Wen Jin's visit was not just for matchmaking, but had other intentions, perhaps even probing the secrets of Lotus Pier. However, the girl's words at the gathering somewhat dispelled the suspicion. If I am fortunate enough to gain your esteemed sect's favor and marry young Master Wei, sect leader Wen eagerly sought talents, hoping young Master Wei could marry into the Wen family of Qishan and become the right-hand man of the sect leader. Jiang Fengmian slightly raised his eyebrows at these words. Indeed, this was a cheap way to poach someone. The girl sent by Wen Ruohan might have a weird background and rumors surrounding her, but judging by her appearance alone, she could be a good match. Wei Wuxian thought to himself, no matter whether she and Wen Ruohan were sincere or not, a girl who pretended to be weak but was actually tough. He couldn't handle her. Marrying her in might lead to being eaten alive without even knowing when. The weird incident thus came to an end. One day, Wei Wuxian took a feather shuttlecock and played shuttlecock kicking with the girls, under the bright sun of Lotus Pier, with a gentle breeze blowing, by the lotus pond in the back garden. The spring scene was even more beautiful. Wei Wuxian wore black clothes with bright red ribbons and was surrounded by a group of girls chatting and laughing. Each of them had a graceful figure, fluttering and dancing, their skirts lightly swaying. A very pleasant sight. Wei Wuxian was originally wandering randomly in the back garden, inviting whoever was near. As more and more girls came over, the courtyard soon became packed, filled with cheerful laughter and the lively voices calling out, "Wei Wuxian, look at this. Ah, Xian, can you catch this? Brother Xian, look at me. Look at me. Young Master Xian is so amazing." Wei Wuxian smiled amidst the girls and kicked the shuttlecock to a particularly pretty girl. "Miss Mian, can you catch this? Why do you always call me Mian? The girl quickly lifted a leg to catch it, her pretty brows knitting together as she shot Wei Wuxian a glare. This Miss Mianmian was a maid from the Jin family of Lanling. Accompanying Jin's Ying, the Jin family was powerful and came with a house full of servants. Jin Ziying herself was radiant like a golden flower, dazzling from head to toe, extravagantly adorned, and held a golden-furred fox in her arms. Wei Wuxian recognized immediately this was the same little beast who had scratched him for no reason that day, causing him to fall hard and be forced to kneel in the ancestral hall all day. The fox curled up in Jin Ziying's arms, narrowing its eyes at him slyly. Wei Wuxian felt an itch in his teeth. Jin Ziying said the little one had always been obedient and never hurt anyone. She didn't understand why it only scratched him, and not others. Perhaps this little creature liked shiny things and hated the pitch black. Wei Wuxian couldn't help but glance down at his own pitch-black robe, thinking to himself that this handsome, mysterious, and profound color had the melancholy of the night, highlighting his devilishly charming, solitary, rebellious heart that had once captivated countless young girls. This little beast couldn't appreciate it. It must be a male fox. The fox resembled its owner, lifting its paw and flicking its tail with pride and arrogance. Its slender fox eyes looked down on others with a hint of superiority, attracting the wild cats of Lotus Pier to squat by the eaves and gawk at it like they were watching a show, occasionally tossing a mouse to provoke a reaction. The noble fox glanced coldly, but remained indifferent, showing it wouldn't eat such cheap street snacks. In the courtyard, Mianmian placed down a golden plate filled with neatly sliced raw meat arranged like a fan flower in red and white hues. The fox turned its head, picked up a slice, lifted the corner of its mouth, and chewed slowly and delicately. Wei Wuxian found it amusing, but thought the name didn't quite fit. Looking at its slender muzzle and sharp claws, it shouldn't be called Yuan Yuan, round. It should be Jian Jian, pointy. He said, "Miss Mianmian, does your fox eat pork belly?" Mianmian replied, "Yes. It was pampered by the young lady since it was little and very picky. Even the fat and lean parts have to be pretty before it will eat, more noble than a person." Wei Wuxian said, "Then let it eat while you come kick Shuttlecock with me." "How about that?" Mianmian hesitated a bit. "But if my young lady sees me alone with young Master Wei, it might not be proper." Wei Wuxian said, "Miss Mianmian, you don't look like a maid, and how can a maid carry a sword?" Mianmian pursed her lips, hesitated a moment, then said, "That was my own wish. I asked the sect leader, and also want to practice sword cultivation." Wei Wuxian laughed. "Even better then. Miss Mianmian, if you'd kindly honor me by kicking Shuttlecock together, I'll teach you swordsmanship, all right? My sword technique is very powerful." Mianmian's eyes brightened and her face blossomed with a smile. "Really?" Wei Wuxian's lips curled lightly and floatingly. "Then, Miss Mianmian, since you're learning from me, shouldn't you tell me your real name?" Mianmian said, "All right, my name is Luo Qingyang." Wei Wuxian said, "Qingyang, Qingyang, a naive little lamb. No wonder you're called Mianmian. Truly a fitting name." Luo Qingyang's ears turned red and she blurted, "You're the naive little lamb." At that moment, a figure in white, passing under the eaves, snorted coldly upon hearing this. The person who had slowed his steps suddenly quickened again. Wei Wuxian stopped with a smile, then glanced over. "Lan Zhan? Hey, Brother Wangji, wait, don't walk so fast. Are you heading to the back garden? Wait for me. I'm coming too." Lan Wangji clearly didn't want to pay attention, didn't look back, and left with his back disappearing behind the door. Wei Wuxian felt bored, but not angry. He turned his face with a smile and said to Luo Qingyang, "Forget that little old-fashioned. Let's go kick Shuttlecock." From the courtyard, a head peeked out. Jin Ziying watched the two walking away and made a small "eh" sound. Over here, Wei Wuxian had already spotted Jin Ziying but pretended otherwise. She gazed distantly at the playing crowd, seemingly hesitant. When Jin Ziying first met Wei Wuxian at the matchmaking feast, she had casually appraised him with a dignified, cool, neither warm nor cold attitude, as if unsure whether he was worthy of her approval. Jiang Fengmian chatted with her parents, talking about the current situation in the cultivation world, while she looked attentively at the two elders, occasionally giving a line or two of her own commentary. Only when Wei Wuxian interrupted did she glance subtly in his direction, with her eyes resting briefly before immediately withdrawing. Watching her hesitant figure, Wei Wuxian thought to himself, This young lady, though a bit high-minded, was way cuter than Jin Zixuan, that peacock. Definitely someone who wanted to play but was shy at the same time. His heart softened halfway, and from afar he called out, "Miss Ying, come kick shuttlecock with us." Jin Ying pretended to hesitate a moment, then strolled over gracefully. A figure in white passed by her slowly and leisurely. Lan Wangji suddenly appeared from nowhere and turned the opposite way. Wei Wuxian's eyes lit up and shouted, "Brother Wangji!" "Don't leave. I've seen you twice already. Staying inside all the time will make you ill. The scene outside is lovely. Do you know how to kick shuttlecock? If not, I'll teach you." Lan Wangji paused slightly, finally yielding a little to turn back, giving him a glance, then scanning the slender, graceful group of maidens near him. At that moment, a gentle breeze blew through the back garden, shaking petals from the peach tree in full bloom, scattering blossoms all over the garden. Lan Wangji raised his eyes a bit. The formerly stern expression stirred with a hint of unrest. Following the scenery, he briefly looked around. Under the mottled shadows of flowers, a black figure lightly floated atop the treetop. On the treetop branches, Wei Wuxian leapt nimbly back and forth. Black hair and red ribbons fluttered, jade-like long legs gently bounded, black boots creating fine dust with each step. He quietly touched a few peach blossoms, then gallantly stepped to several maidens nearby, opening his palm to gain girls' charming smile. In a moment, his light body descended in front of Lan Wangji. His black eyes, reflecting the falling pink petals and fragrant shadows, shimmered slightly. A small, cup-sized, delicate flower rested in his palm. Wei Wuxian smiled faintly and extended his hand, saying, "Lan Zhan, this is for you."